On the 7th of Feb, we'll be hosting the Pattern Brands Dialogue, the first one for the year. And we'll be unpacking the intersection of AI and marketing. So now we're back. It's a new year.
Yeah.
Have you picked up any interesting...
I have. There is something I learned where you can actually have an AI or a bot scheduling meetings for you. So it's almost like a virtual PA.
So does that mean no more PAs?
Another thing is recycling and repurposing popular content. I think I still need to do like a research paper on like CRM.
I hear they're going to be doing away with cookies. That's going to be obviously a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So SEO, I think, is going to become more important
prevalent
now in terms of... Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Pat on Brands
and Mpumi.
How much did I miss that? And I'm sure even our viewers. Let's do it again.
Okay.
Pat and
Mpumi.
You back.
I'm back. Not by popular demand because it's my job to be back.
Yeah, man. How have you been? Can you let us into why you disappeared?
Well, I was given sabbatical by Pat off the podcast. I got married. So
show. Do it like this, like.
Anyway,
congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
you're somebody's wife now.
Apparently, kuchiwo. But yeah, so I got married. I was on and off for a bit. I think it was pretty.
Can you tell our viewers who married you? Apparently, this guy used to watch this podcast, and he was like, "I'm gonna marry that woman."
Okay, if that's what you want to.
True or false?
It's false. But anyway,
congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
So happy for you.
Thank you very much.
It came as a surprise, I must say.
I am just a surprise. Him himself is surprised. I'm sure we're all surprised in this whole thing. But
we celebrate love, and love is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
So, no Mpumi Sacha.
Yeah, and because we always had this thing, it was unompumelelo sacha, and I lived by that. But now, nope, we are Nompumelelo Vundhla ni sacha.
Yes, Nompumelelo Vundhla
ni sacha. Because now we are fighting for the ni sacha, just like we're fighting for the full name of Nompumelelo. But anyway, Asikolapo.
Yeah.
But how are you, Pat?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm still singing.
Yeah. We wouldn't know if you change your surname as a male person because you stay as Mr. Hey, I'm a daughter.
Hey. No, I'm still here, still, edit, still pushing business, still raising a beautiful daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out here, man.
That's good. How was Festive?
Festive, was quite short, I must say. I thought it was going to be longer because I just wanted it to be, done, dusted, and come back and work. Since October, when you request a meeting or you want to pitch something to your client, you're being told that
it's here in the new year.
I was anxious about that.
Yeah.
And also, and fatigue. Oh, Pat, I don't have capacity to stomach a proposal right now. So let's talk in the new year. So I'm actually glad that, December is done and now we're back in the trenches and we are building. But also I did try to rest,
That's good.
Did try to rest. I read a book.
Okay.
And actually I read 2 books. And one is the biography of the late Hugh Masekela. Oh, what a book.
Yeah, you're done? You finished it?
And actually, I'm still reading it now.
Okay.
It's a thick book. It's not those by your influencers that only have 10 pages.
We're going there. Hectic. Yeah.
I have a book. No, literally, it's a thick book. But I laughed, I cried. And I cringed reading that book. It was so fascinating. So, I wouldn't say inspiring, but just eye-opening.
Giving you a picture of history.
A bit of history. Apartheid guys, believe them when they say it was rough.
Yeah.
It was a very evil system, and I think one that we should never, ever, as a country, experience again. I read also Prof Aletta's book on personal mastery. Aletta Mokoena. Beautiful book. One that I think every young professional really needs to read, because he sort of took his life experience from a career perspective and put it in a book. And one thing that I took out from that book around mentorship, he says, whenever a person asks you to be their mentor, just mentor them.
Wow. Okay.
Because oftentimes you get caught up, I'm busy, I'm this, I'm that. Give them an ear, and sometimes one session can
change your life. Sure.
You know what I mean? And
I suppose we do become quite self-absorbed.
Absolutely. And I thought, that is such a simple yet a powerful thought. Because as one obviously means our words. and grows in their career. A lot of other young people that are looking
at you,
and that are watching and send me DMs, say, can you please mentor us? Can you so it's just making time for other people, because I for one, to be where I am today, it's because someone made time. Or actually not someone, many people made time for me. Some we met once and never met again, but I took something out. So it's a really good book, and I said to him, he needs to come.
Okay.
To join us.
So we'll have Prof Aletta
on
one of our segments.
One of these days. I'm not sure where he's gonna find the time, but he
has to because he said listen here.
So he has to find the time, and we're gonna talk about the book and obviously his life journey. Very learned man. Very learned. Someone that I don't know where he also gets the time to.
Oh, I actually remember we were supposed to have him actually, if not last year, because I remember we were researching. He
came to the dialogue. He was.
Because I remember then we went, and I remember when you said learn it, because then we were looking at he's got quite a lot of qualifications, and we're like, where does he get the time? No, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, so he.
So no, we're having him this year.
Yeah, we must have him. Must have him here. Yeah, so that's what I got up to.
That's great.
Over the holidays, a little bit of reading, obviously, as a black child. Also, December means traveling home.
Okay. So you had a safe travel home, of course.
So we went home. Actually, I went home 4 times. Can you believe it?
Really? Hectic.
Went home, picked up my cousin,
came back,
visited, took her back, left, dropped my daughter, came back, went to fetch her.
Came back.
Yeah.
Sure. That was
so much money on petrol.
Clearly.
For the year.
For the year 2023 or 2024?
For the year for 2024, I've already spent my But that's what we did. Obviously, a little bit of good time, friends and whatever, a little bit of an outing here and there.
That's good.
Yeah, but December is never my good month.
Because there's no business.
Okay, there's no business, you don't pay.
But that is true. That's true.
Just scramble to pay salaries.
Yeah.
Pay office rent.
Office rent.
We pay staff. And, because remember, in our line of business, the tap starts running dry from
October-ish.
October-ish. If you're not lucky.
Yeah.
And now
unless you have a retained client,
Yeah.
But even then, you're trying to get your December invoices, but it's like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
but there's a part and parcel of
this type
journey.
of industry.
Yeah, and to be back in yourself.
Sure. To summarize, I suppose it was the marriage. I wouldn't call it wedding.
Yeah.
But needless to say, the admin of actually
because if
married,
it was a wedding, I was gonna be invited.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. But the administration, I suppose, you take it for granted. So it really took a mental toll.
Sure.
emotional toll. So it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was good. Post that, I suppose my now husband and I figured, you know what, we've been fighting because we wanted things our way. So there was a lot of, pulling back and forth. But I think we agreed that about 70% of what we wanted. And then 30% then was family.
70%, that's a distinction.
No. So you can understand, we were tired after that. So post that, we got like what we wanted. It was quite amazing. And then we decided to take a break. We went left Namibia. So we did a bit of a Namibian travel. We did the Swakopmund. We went to Walvis Bay. We went to Windhoek. But much to how he phrases Namibia, it's like an offside branch of South Africa.
Is it?
Everything is the same.
Same bank, same.
Yeah, we went to Rocco Mamas. We went to Ocean Basket.
And you spoke Afrikaans.
There's Afrikaans, exactly. So it's a lot of Afrikaans spoken. It's literally an offside branch. I suppose when you go to Swakopmund, it is a bit different with the German feel there from the colonized then. Very architecture is very German. I even thought it was actually Dutch, but we got corrected. And I think when we learned of, I don't know, but the history that's there basically, but it was quite a lot. But other than that, that's where we did our activities. It was a lot of fun. Went camel, riding, went sandboarding up the dunes. That was a lot of work. My goodness, going up and down those dunes. Yo. It's like walking in sand, but uphill. So that is like some hectic walking.
Oh, so there's not like a lift?
No. So apparently, and to summarize though, the government then kind of made it a conservational area type thing. So there's certain things you can't drive, for example, with the quad bikes in certain parts of the sand dunes, just so that you're not messing with the integrity of the nature and preservation.
Wow.
So also with the sandboarding, we can't drive up, so we kind of were really far. We're parked really far, and you kind of have to take your sandboarding and then walk up that like dune. So
you dressed like comfortably.
Yeah, you're in sports clothes. Yeah,
so
going
you can't
up
go
those
in
dunes.
heels.
Try it. And let us know how it goes. My suggestion would be just be in, I was in a sports gear, like trainers, tights, shirts. It helped quite a lot. And then you go up that the sand dunes, and then you just start sandboarding. There's others who are doing it standing, or others who are lying down. And you're on different side of the dunes, but now you must walk up to go in.
So how many times do you have to?
So in that, because it was a half day, funny enough how the day goes so quickly. In 3 hours, we could only do, we did about 7 laps. Well, the people who did it, I did what was needed to be done. That was I think 3 or 4 max. Others did, double that. Musa, my husband, did, he had enjoyed himself. Wakibela, up and down, and they kind of measure your speed. So you kind of it's your 6 point, I don't know, something kilometers, but it was pretty dope.
Oh, lovely.
And we did that. We did a lot of catamaran. They've got, it's like really weird there. They've got seals, they've got flamingos. Like their population is, and the population of those things are even like equal to the population of, the Namibians. Like it's ridiculous. Like there are so many seals. And it smells. But the chillest people, flamingos. They're also there at Walvis Bay as you wake up.
Just see a flamingo doing his thing.
No, a whole lot of flamingos on the bed on the river, on the seabed thing. A whole lot of flamingos. So they
flamingos, those pink ones, huh?
The pink ones, yeah.
Sure.
So they all fly in, and you like thousands, on that riverbed. So it was beautiful to see that. I think from a natural or nature beauty, it's epic there.
And you also went on a sabbatical on social media, because we haven't seen.
I did. No, I decided that there's a lot happening. I think work also was happening. So there was just no time to also entertain now, because now you're concentrating on social media. But also it came from, I know my husband was like, I'm on my phone 24/7. So I was like, okay. So I thought, okay, let me stop being on my phone. But I was like, also, but that's my job. So when I kept it to it being my job and not now having it at my personal, it was reduced. But I'm back.
Yes, please. And you're going to post about the podcast.
But yeah, so that was that. Spend time with family. I think this is the first festive that I probably didn't open my laptop, which was good. Previous years, either there was work or there was something I had to do. So, but yeah, that was that. And we're back again.
And who paid the salaries? Your business partners?
No, I did.
Oh, it was used to.
Yeah, solid. I did. Came back from Namibia and I had to, because it was almost just the last week before we closed. So had to be all hands on. Was at Lenala. If there's clients, you do nails, but made sure that the team does not go without what they're there for, their job.
Okay, great.
But it was a good one.
So going to Namibia, you're gonna see a lot of flamingos and
seals. Flamingos, seals. I didn't get to see the dolphins as hoped, but apparently I needed to go somewhere at a certain time between 10 and 11. You would see them like go to the other side, and then. Wow. But it was beautiful to see just how nature is just so, like it's timeless. Like how you know that the sun is going to rise tomorrow is just also how these animals also work. Like it's quite awe-inspiring just to look at nature in that way. Wow. Seals are doing their job, the pelicans are doing their job, day in, day out. Flamingos, we are doing what they were destined to do. So each person's purpose and destiny is kind of being fulfilled in like the animal kingdom in that way. So it was quite nice.
So now we're back. It's a new year. As per usual, you hear marketing experts telling us about how the year is going to look like, what trends will emerge.
Yeah.
Have you picked up any interesting?
I have. Ones? As a avid digital marketer here and there, looked at some digital marketing things to look at that will make it easy for the business. Again, our podcast is aimed at those emerging businesses and driving sustainability. And also using time effectively. We understand that a small business owner or emerging business owner is wearing all hats, know. So if you can do things, and sometimes it does feel like it's tedious, but it just helps, And also maybe because we can't quantify to say if you do this, it will equal to a rand, it becomes very difficult to kind of see, but it's cumulative, all those things. But cool things I did see was that a website, right? If you know, the YOBAs, initially in the first year it was you had to have a website, despite the fact that I fought it. But a website is basically in terms of, and not to insult intelligence, but to explain that you need a website because people kind of, when you say smang, they go Google. That's your first point of call, where you kind of go see. And it also brings about that credibility of a business, brings about, ngati.
They say your website is your 24-hour salesman.
Absolutely. In the absence of a human, being there, it's able to take in information to say, okay, cool, this is what this brand is about. And there you are owning the narrative.
It's your story.
It's your story, your way. Yeah. People get to, fit in and understand what this brand is about, whether it is by copy, whether it is by creativity, whether it is by images, but you're basically telling the brand story through this, and people can kind of go through this catalog of this brand and really understand it in your absence, So a website is quite important, but even more so, it is that optimizing it, for search engine optimization. So optimize your site for SEO. Now SEO, some of the courses can be done on Google.
Of course.
So Google has those certificates where you can do, and you can pace yourself, where you know that, okay, every morning I can do 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah. In high school, we had this thing called 15 minutes reading time. You'd be surprised, you'd finish a book,
Absolutely.
So you take it small bit by small bit where you're optimizing, because sometimes getting an SEO specialist can be expensive. Absolutely. But you can find, at least then, if you're adapting and learning, you're optimizing your website finally, right?
Yeah.
Second to that, we have researching these SEO keywords. Mm-hmm. So these keywords, then again, it's about, if you know how Google works, it's about relevance. And I forgot the second one. So how people search is the fact that how you become top on a list is that, okay, is your content relevant. So it's also according to keywords. It's also according to what information is requested, so that when Pat is typing, how do I, already what comes up now, it's predictive, that word. But they already have seen all the other things that you've researched basically, and they kind of then going through your head through that, you know, your IP address, okay, and that data management is that back end big data is to say, okay, cool, probably this is what he's looking for, because we saw like 10 seconds ago, this is what he was looking at. So he's probably following the same, you know, thought process.
Yeah. Just on that note, because I mean, I hear they're going to be doing away with cookies. That's going to be obviously a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So SEO, I think, is going to become more important now in terms of being able to reach the people that you want to reach through your website.
Yeah.
And also maybe just to add on the SEO and the keywords, like writing SEO style or SEO copywriting.
Yeah, copywriting.
Because how sometimes you tend to use industry jargon, you know, and you think everybody else searches
like that.
Yeah. You know, they'll use like an industry term. But sometimes like...
But remember, they're trying to get to that industry term. So you have to simplify it, really. Yeah.
So when you write copy on your website, even if you do marketing, put it in a way that, you know...
You can be found.
And someone, if you're doing marketing, you know, don't use words like we make customers fall in love with our products. Or
but how?
Exactly. You know, use common language, because how people search for information is also how they speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, exactly how we're having this conversation. If I want to know how to drive a car, I'm gonna go and say how to drive a car. Yeah, I'm not gonna say.
I'll even say I want to know how to drive a car type thing. You know? Yeah.
So that's also very important.
Absolutely. Second to that, whilst I mean it's all about SEO and technical audits, but second to that also is creating a Google business profile.
Sure.
You know, as simple as that is that, because people are probably just like, okay, how do I find that tab? You know, when you're looking for something and then it shows you, you know, opening times, contacts and so forth. That's creating call button and so forth. That's
directions.
That's called Google Business Profile. So you create a Google Business Profile. It's free, no charge. You open your profile there. You tell them what the business. So you can put in description, number. So it gives you all trading hours. If you know if it's service or even if it's not. But you're basically saying, okay, this is what can happen. So that's what you can include. Yeah.
If you're struggling, you can come to Lerato Agency.
And they'll assist you. I don't know but they said it's free, this thing, but that's besides the point. Now, maximize.
You'll charge you for our time.
Okay. Also now in terms of content, now we've moved from that and I've just kind of summarized that. It's content. So they've said maximizing engagement with video. I know your pet peeve is that our podcast can't just be audio, just because people are consuming content differently and also visually now. So another thing is recycling and repurposing popular content. So I think many a times it's like, we need to take like
new content every time,
which granted you would need to, but also with the content that you have, you can splice it in so many different ways, you know, for different formats. YouTube shorts, you know, for reels, long form, short form, static. So there's different ways in which carousel. So there's different ways you can actually take one piece and kind of have probably 7 to 10 pieces out of one
piece of content.
So that's another way of doing that, or saving as a small business or emerging business, and sharing user-generated content. So again, user-generated content is content created by yourself, and that's what you can do also, and especially probably if you are and we've seen it with Pat.
Just point of correction, by yourself or by your customers? User-generated content.
Sorry, in this instance, it would be by the customer.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be by the customer. So you kind of can tag them and share. Sorry. Yeah. You're quite right.
So your customer posts, oh, wow, just... got this mark delivered. Oh,
so
what a lovely
repost.
Mark. Then
absolutely.
Then you take that, and of course, you know, it's best practice to give them credit.
Yeah, absolutely. So you would then, and we've seen this, you know, where people would actually tag on stories, so they kind of just repost that onto stories.
Sure.
And I think those are the main ones there. In terms of engagement, again, it's engaging with your audience.
Yeah. So when someone comments, you don't look at it and say,
just be like, okay, cool. But have because I think you're not saying now it's a chit chat type of thing, right? Because it's not like on your personal laptop where you can, but here you're able to kind of have generic comments that you have with a personal touch, because you can see now when it's like copy and paste here.
Oh,
good
here
day,
is
ma'am.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, good day, ma'am. Please, could you DM us?
Your
details. So give it a bit of character.
Speaking of DMs, I saw another good piece of work by Slaying Goliath. But things that should stay
in 2023. Yeah.
And one of them was DM for prices.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was quite funny.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then they go into a bit more CRM, where they are saying create regular email newsletters, so touch base. I think I still need to do like I wouldn't say a white paper, but a research paper on like CRM. And because we are inundated with so many emailers, and personally, I'm sitting with 2,000 and something, and most of those are emailers.
I think on my Gmail, got 29,000.
Yeah.
275 emails.
Hectic.
That I haven't opened.
Hectic.
And most of which are from brands.
Yeah. So I think CRM and
but
why
I opened the ones I care about.
And that's what happens, I suppose. But I was cleaning like because sometimes maybe then I'm trying to do a sweep to be like, okay, now let's reduce. Yeah. But I'm still like, okay, but are they effective? And I think they are effective, but how? I mean, we discussed in terms of doing CRM, customer relationship management, where we're saying, okay, it needs to be something that for Lenala that is not your usual come through stamp, okay, type thing. Yeah. So how do you think of, and did a bit more research in terms of personalized CRM, we know Discovery is probably a leader in that regard, where they are actually doing things that make sense for you. So you kind of want to earn points. So they've gamified the system enough for you to say, okay, I want to be a loyal client because I know the benefits of being a loyal client. Yeah, so for me it was to say, okay, cool. Is this like a thing though? Because I've gotten so many emailers and like 90% of them I have not looked at. So is it just churning out information also from our side?
I guess, and I think it goes back to the adage. Half of your advertising is wasted. The problem is you don't know which one. You can't identify, right? But I think it works. It has its own place, and also there's a certain, I'd say, touch that your email marketing has to have. So it can't be the old school way, not personalized or just pure generic emails going out. But what I've realized is that for me, for example, like the Pattern Brands Dialogues, right? Whenever we hosted the dialogues, we'll post on social media, we'll do all sorts of things. But we converted when we sent emails and WhatsApp messages. So where the message is more personal, that's when we did convert.
Yeah.
So I guess also at the same time, again, it depends on who sends the email. If you're just using a generic Lenala beauty email, and even the name, the display name is Lenala beauty. Here's another person trying to sell me something. But if it's Mpumi Vundhla. Or Mpumi from Lenala. Then it's more human. I think it's more like it's moving towards like social media, for example, whereby if it's a brand, then the message is not really welcomed or well received. But if it's an individual, that's why influencers became so popular, because people
resonated.
It resonated with the influencer than with the brand.
Yeah.
So the same thing I think applies. But also I think it depends on the sector, in which your business exists in. I mean, I'll open an email from my bank.
Yeah, got you.
Even if it says F&B live or whatever.
Yeah.
So if it has to do with my finances, it's there. If it's
so
my
maybe
medical
it goes
aid,
back to what is important to
the
individual. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's my like for example, I can name 5. If it's my bank, definitely I'll open. Medical aid, definitely
you'll open.
I'll open.
Yeah.
If it's who else? My gym, every now and then, because obviously the gym thing is quite important to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's one day only,
just to see what is there,
what specials do they have.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Take a Lot, not so much.
Okay.
Even though I have subscribed to their mailer, maybe because I don't buy from them much, but I know I'll find a good deal at one day only of anything that I may be looking for, or maybe I know will spark my interest if I have disposable income, And of course, if it's from an individual, I'll open it.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that is through the line, below the line type of marketing.
Yeah.
So you would just also, it's below the line actually. I think. Yeah, but basically, you as a small business, if you do have, there's a MailChimp account, for example, that you can create so that you're still interacting and also building database with your audience, because you are building these personas that you can understand your people better, so that also your brand is for the people.
Absolutely, and if it speaks to the needs
of the people
of the people, and also if you've built a community, absolutely. If like for example, if I subscribe to, then the other ones like your industry related
events and work.
Yes,
but basically that.
Yeah, industry events or industry news. Those platforms. Because I gain something.
Absolutely.
And I think the key is that, because if it's just here's a special,
Yeah. So it's also important, I suppose, to be deliberate about it. It's great and all to give so much information, but again, like we've said, it depends on an individual and what does it speak to them, and that's why we have that unsubscribe button. And they ask sometimes, to say, why are you leaving the page? Is it because the information doesn't talk to you? Yeah. Are you not interested anymore? And so forth. So. Yeah, take the time. And I know it's quite easy for us to kind of say it.
Yeah.
Trust it. It's a lot of work, to look at data, to read data, to analyze data, to be able then to come up with a solution does take time. But when you can, and whatever you decide is important for the business.
Yeah, the thing is, the funny thing is that, obviously if you look at that part, it's a very specialized field.
Yeah.
And also copy.
Absolutely.
Everything needs to be thought out.
Yeah.
I think, like, even with social media, you can't just post for the sake of it. So every post, there needs to be thinking. There needs to be an objective that your post wants to achieve, and it's everything. You have to apply yourself, and
absolutely,
and that's why it helps to get
an agency.
An agency. That will help you, because if you want to leverage off even WhatsApp, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
There are agencies that specialize
in WhatsApp.
In just WhatsApp business.
Yeah.
And it's the copy, and it's this and it's that, and it's just a lot of things, and which can be quite overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I think the key is to make it beneficial.
So that's basically the wrap up of trends or things to maybe look out for as a small business in making life easier. I think the actual working or doing it at the beginning could be a bit tedious, but it's all in efforts to make it a lot easier or make your life easier. Yeah,
but of course, I think AI will continue to dominate the boardroom conversations.
Yeah.
And even mainstream media.
Absolutely.
Last year, with the rise of ChatGBT and OpenAI platforms, so to speak, really gave prominence to the topic. And like, you know, I can already imagine a lot of marketers starting to say traditional marketing is dead again.
Yeah, but we know it. We kind of go back to the norm, you know, most of the time. But I have top 3 things maybe that can be implemented. We've spoken about digital things, but AI things that can be implemented. When we're researching, we found some cool top 3 things that other people maybe are doing already.
Yeah.
I've also had the experience of them. At first, it was a bit awkward. It was like, hey, we have a chatbot in the meeting. Hi.
Yeah.
What are you listening to? So, depending, of course, in terms of how your risk appetite comes to tech, because you'd find that many a times it's like, oh,
we are laggards.
yeah, who's listening?
Yeah.
You want my information, IP, etc. But my top 3 is 1. There is something I learned where you can actually have an AI or a bot scheduling meetings for you. So it's almost like a virtual PA. So that I make sure. So you go to Google, right? And on Google, you type Google Artificial Intelligence AI, or something like that.
Yeah.
But you type it there on the Google search, and basically then you're requesting it to schedule meetings for you.
Wow.
So you would then tell it to schedule a meeting. So you just put in, I think, the email of the person that you're wanting to schedule a meeting with, and then it will have a conversation with that person because it has the preferences or your calendar preferences at the back end. Sure. So the work would be you scheduling your calendar in a way, and then it kind of then populates that. Of course, there's limitations maybe in terms of preference and so forth, because as an individual, maybe, you know, you just, and I think you can maybe either put those indicators to say it needs to be first half of the meeting and so forth. So that can be done, you know. Sure. So play around with that, look for different apps that can do that on Google. But I think you can look at that, and it's a free you know, widget or thing that you can add to your life, and basically scheduling then your life for you. So you don't really necessarily have to have like a PA who's doing that for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So does that mean no more PAs?
No, they'll definitely be needed. There's too much work. I mean, a personal assistant is there to run also administrative, almost takes on the mind of the CEO. So kind of can make, and I suppose once you've built that and empowered that person, is they're able to make decisions in your absence. I think that's what makes a personal assistant.
Gotcha.
You know, is that even if you were to give proxy to them, you know that they'll be doing something that is in line with the vision of the chairman's office or you know, the CEO's office type thing, because they are in tune and in line with the CEO.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. My second one is still in that line, is meeting notes. So there is a reading AI or reading notes AI tool that can be added to your meetings. So I've had experience that in most of my Google meetings, where chatbot comes in and basically transcribes everything that was spoken and then sends to you on email after the meeting. So then you can take that, populate that in accordance to maybe the template that's there, but already that information is already there. So you're not like having to go read or listen to a recording to be like, what did I miss? Or also typing and listening, and you're being asked a question, and you know, it becomes quite a lot because maybe you can't definitely maybe afford to have 2 more staff complements, being somebody who's transcribing or somebody who's going to send you those meeting minutes. Sure. So you have everything there in an audio format, of course, once you've recorded the meeting, but also in a copy format where you can then just take that, chunk it out accordingly to your template, and then send that to whoever you need to send.
Oh, interesting. I mean, obviously, but again, you see the role of a PA, because the PA also is going to write or transcribe some of the minutes of the meeting.
Granted, but I mean, it's
so what do we do with our PAs then?
I just told you, didn't I tell you that there was 150 things that else they need to do?
Admin.
Not just transcribe. I mean, but they'll take it, and
I mean already if I've got an AI.
No, but I mean that information.
Writing my minutes.
Yeah, but they're not also intuitive, you know? So they're taking what they have and then they just putting it there, you know? So there isn't somebody who's making sense of that, putting that into a way that we actually think in terms of tasks.
Got you.
You know, so if you're saying, okay, Word document send, I mean, then there's no issue. We'd all just send an audio, you know, to a client. You know, when they ask for meeting minutes, we're like, sure. there's an audio thing, so there's formats, there's ways, and that's where then the team comes in. Up until then, maybe there is AI to actually make that make sense. But that also needs a bit more intuitive, like I say, or keywords, because it would be keywords and so forth, which becomes a bit difficult in a space where it's not necessarily, there's parameters of conversation or language, Yeah. And lastly, taking long format. So they are AI tools that take long format content and make it short format content for different platforms.
Sure.
And to the extent that apparently, with the hashtags and scheduling those posts and posting. So there is a bit more of a dark side when it comes to certain things like that. They did show something that happened on Google where you could say to Google that you'd want to make an appointment for hair. And as you're making an appointment, they call, the person on your contact list because they've kind of seen the repetitive action. And they made a call. Hi, how are you? And the next part is, I would like to make an appointment for Nompumelelo at this time because we've told them, no, this is the time. Then they say, no, we're unfortunately fully booked. So they go back to the calendar back end to say, okay, cool, this is the next slot. And they say, yes, tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Whether you are available or not, Upoza wako has made that appointment for you. And they said, the person on the other side could not even hear, that it's actually a bot. So, so that's the what we have when it comes to AI and so forth.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools. Even from a creative perspective.
Absolutely.
We've got ChatGBT writing copy. We've got I think Microsoft Design. You can just do graphic design for your work. And it's really about obviously embracing the tools and just learning what is it that they can do and what they cannot do. And I think at the end of the day, there'll still be a need for human intervention somehow. Even ChatGPT, even though they can write the copy for you, but you still need to have an oversight. I think last year we had a case where the president's speech
they said it was written.
Was set to, or allegedly written by ChatGPT, and the message just didn't land, and people thought it was a bit irrelevant / insensitive, painting this rosy picture, which is not true. So I think the onus is just upon everyone, in business, just to familiarize themselves with the tools out there. But the big one for me is that obviously, because these AI tools give back what you give them, and what that does ultimately would lead to sameness. That's why I'm of the view that yes, those repetitive tasks, that your PA would do, they can handle those, but you still need that, human
creativity, intelligence,
and to put things into context. And just humanize
the
thing.
content.
And if you're interested, obviously, in this topic, particularly on the marketing front, on the 7th of Feb, we'll be hosting the Pattern Brands Dialogue, the first one for the year, and we'll be unpacking the intersection of AI and marketing, and how does these two, come together. We've got a great lineup of speakers. We've got Musa Khalenga, who's the group CEO at the Brave Group, which is an advertising agency, and actually we also have the director of AI in the agency.
Okay.
So they've established an
AI unit.
Or
department,
that pushes all things AI.
Sure.
And got the head of marketing from Sanlam.
Okay.
Sanlam did a very interesting campaign through AI. I think Tabang would
show
and put on the visuals of that AI campaign by Sanlam. So if you're interested in all things AI, do join us on the 7th of Feb at Workshop 17 in Sandton. I think it's on 138 West Street. And we'll be talking about all things AI and marketing. How do they come together?
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, you can't ignore these things. As much as I'm still a big fan of obviously doing the things yourself and just applying yourself, in the process of creating, something. But another thing is, again, even though we have this AI as, obviously it's a big thing, can't comprehend its power, and if you can't apply yourself into using it as a productive tool,
it becomes pointless.
It's like social media.
Social
media, we do know it's a powerful tool that people can use to grow and build their businesses on, but some just use it for frivolous stuff or entertainment. But another thing that I think is important, around the AI thing, and now that we're going to elections, it's going to be very tricky. I mean, we've seen videos that look legit, that were AI generated, depicting presidents of states. So there's a lot of fake news. There was one. I was surprised even after it was picked up that it's actually fake, of Elon Musk. There was an ad that was running on YouTube. It ran for quite some time, where Elon Musk saying he's giving back to his motherland,
South Africa,
and it's gonna help people become rich, and they also use some of our news anchors.
Sure.
It was like a news sort of bulletin style of delivery, and it was promoted on YouTube, and obviously an average person,
average Joe is gonna believe that.
And they put their money in and they get scammed.
Sure.
So fake news, scams, so those are some of the things that I think people need to be wary of. I mean, if, for example, like now you're saying they can make calls, imagine even an automated call from a bank. Supposedly.
Sure.
Someone calling you from the bank and saying,
"Good day, would you like to give us 1 million? Give you 1 million. And give us your banking details, yet they are the bank."
Absolutely, So there are those dynamics that I feel like we as marketers and as people in general just need to be aware of. People, I mean, they can design stuff that look like, comms that was made by your bank, and an email, and
But I mean, this is an ecosystem, and that gives opportunity for us to have conversations with cybersecurity, people, and really then talk about these things and how they actually affect us. We hear cases of how people have either been scammed, people, bank accounts being messed up. So the objective of us here again is bringing back what we kind of left a bit, which is answering those burning questions of, oh my gosh, this has happened to me, how do I? And we're there to answer those questions. And like I say, it's an ecosystem, of this economy that has been built, and we're there then to say, okay, cool, if that's what we're talking about, then how do we combat that through cybersecurity, for example?
And I think we will bring Musa Khalenga,
to come have a conversation.
To come and have a conversation around AI and help us answer some of these burning questions that we have around marketing and AI.
So to wrap it up, Pat, 2024?
2024, a very interesting year. I'm turning 33.
Yes.
And it's said that 33 is a magic number.
Other than that, though, with business, any one thing that you're like, okay, cool, this is my plan. This is the consistent, because we're also talking about consistency.
Yeah.
This is my consistency for 2024.
2024. Look, someone said 2024 more.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing more of what we did last year. Since last year, actually, what I've always tried to do is that I don't set New Year's resolutions. I just look at things that I set out last year that I didn't achieve and try to work on those, and achieve those that I didn't achieve in the previous year. So there's some outstanding items, some I've ticked off, of my list. So there's a few that's remaining before I start setting
new ones. Okay.
So 2024 really, obviously the YOBAs are happening again in June this year. Some people said, don't use the word bigger.
Yeah, please. We are shocked, Appel.
But I mean, look, we can't drop the standard. I think last year we set the standard. I think we're turning, it's the third year now, and we just need to perfect, the product, the offering, and
the
everything
value,
else, and the value for those that partner up with us. What we also be doing, obviously, Lerato Agency, continue doing the great work. The podcast, we've been doing it. Why are you laughing? We had, we're doing it. Is it intermittently?
Yeah.
Lapo na lapo. So we are very much more focused on this product. Being the podcast. We really want to invest more time and resources in growing this platform. And I think, fortunately for us, is that your husband is a big fan of this podcast. So meaning that you will make time. When you say we are going to record, you say, "Baby, go, baby, go record."
Anyway,
so yeah, that's the podcast. Pattern Brands as a media company now. I think with the multiple touch points or sort of avenues that we have, we've got obviously the website, we've got our social media pages, we've got the podcast, we've got the dialogues being the event side. We'll be launching some new sort of content streams that cater for the industry, which is the marketing and communications industry. We want to bring in other voices, people to contribute content on our website to build their thought leadership or brands through our platform. So there's some interesting, ideas that will be executed in the year, all in the name of growing the platform. I mean, it's 7 years now. Can you believe it? Started it as a blog. Now this year it's 7 years, and I haven't made a dime out of this thing. But it has afforded me personally, some great opportunities. Almost every other thing that I've built, be it the agency, be it the YOBAs, has been built on the back of Pattern Brands. But now I think it's at a point where now it needs to, become its own thing. So we need to be more intentional. Now more than ever before, we all know that content is king. So that's something that we'll be investing more on. Finding creative ways, particularly also telling our stories, on a South African front. Because the majority of times, what you find is that whenever you're looking for a good case study or an example of, say, AI, always you have to make reference, outside of South Africa. And I think what we need is people creating a platform where people can come and share their case studies, and they have more, of the marketing community members coming to the podcast, making time to come here and share valuable knowledge, so that also we can have, as South Africans or as a continent, we can have our own base. I think our next guest is one of the diaspora. Also for us now to expand our reach, outside of the South African borders. The continent, yes, definitely, there's a strong appetite to grow within the continent, but also, have some global reach. We saw our stats from Spotify listenership from last year. We hit 4 countries, and to grow that, with the podcast. So, yeah, I'm quite excited about this year. There's a lot that we can do, that this podcast can achieve. We'll continue also create opportunities for our people, for our kind, to come work, come get valuable experience, build profiles, work on what will be one of the biggest podcasts in the continent.
Tick. I don't think I need to add anything to that. But yeah, I think that is...
On your end, from a Lenala perspective?
Oh no, Lenala, I've been told that I should stop treating it like a side hustle. So I think it is...
now that you have a husband, maybe you'll be forecasting.
So anyway, so we are doing a lot of Lenala work in just really getting the business side of stuff going. So business side of stuff is really what is the main focus for this year. Codifying things, just getting the ship in order is really the basis of our first half of the year, and I suppose then the fun stuff will kick in from the second half of the year. So that's the main thing around what we're doing. I think it has been, my December reads were around YT, to understand how ShopRite is, what ShopRite is, Checkers to be Checkers is. I'm still on the chapter of when he purchases, ShopRite and how he purchases. But before that, he was at PEP. So it also kind of, you go into this like wormhole of now Googling, PEP, the history. So if we call it at home like the PEP, not PEP, the Wikipedia wormhole, you kind of then go, you click on that, you read through that. And just seeing these brands that we have and what they are now, And also it was during an apartheid time. So all of that. But that's basically my year. A bit of school in between there. And then client work that I do daily. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're watching this and you're thinking, geez, I'd also like to share, I think also another big thing that the podcast needs to do this year is obviously grow the community. Absolutely.
We want your participation. We want your suggestions. Be it guests that you'd like to see, or to hear on our podcast, and for you also to take it upon yourself to chase your dreams, in this new year. Even though, some people don't do resolutions like I mentioned earlier on, but if it's your thing, it's your thing, do it and go chase those dreams. If you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Yeah, subscribe, share, like and comment. And comment. If you haven't been to Lenala, do book an appointment, and Tabang, please don't forget to add the Lenala details there so that people can make a booking and experience, the beauty that is Lenala. Personalized experience. Yes. Yeah. And of course, if you're looking for ways to grow your brand, Lerato Agency is open. If you're one of those say, oh, this year, new agency, think about us. We are here, to serve you, to craft your brand, to make your customers fall in love with your brand, and that is Lerato Agency. And we said a mouthful today. And from myself, Mpumi Vundhla. You almost said Sacha. See you guys on the next episode. Bye. From me, Pat Mahlangu. Pat.